My name is Marcus Baylor, St. Louis native, and I love Jross-tv.
What's up, y'all? This your boy Jross hanging out with my cat Marcus Baylor. Now, hey, what he ain't telling y'all, he should have said super drummer Marcus Baylor. Man, I was at Marcus. I got to tell y'all this real quick. At the concert last night at Lola's, man. Now, I've seen Marcus play, but I ain't never just seen you cut up like that, man. And I was just, when you was playing, I was kind of mad too, because I can't play with like tick, 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 tick. And I was like, man, what inside of you just go in there and grab that and say, man.
Well, first of all, don't sleep, because I saw some clips of you playing with Victor. You pick up that bass and go in. So man, we just got to get that out the way.
Auto-tune, baby.
Let's just get that out the way first.
Auto-tune.
Jross can get it in. He can get it in right here. Yeah. So we just gonna be. But I mean, to answer your question, man, really, man, it's really first of all, foremost, it's a blessing from God. I started here in St. Louis at my family's church, Faith Miracle Temple. At the time, before I moved out here on Lindbergh, we were down on Prairie. So that's where my start came from. Yeah. And playing in church, playing there really cultivated my sound. You know, playing in tent revivals. Back then, it was no mics on the drums. And later on, progression, they started putting mics on there. But my family really cultivated through the leading of the Holy Spirit, really this gift of me playing drums. That's where it really started. And then later on, of course, it progressed into taking private lessons, studying in the school systems, and then moving along and going to college. But man, that's really, you know, it's really God. And I tell people this, my main statement is that where I come from, which is church, I'm a dime a dozen. But I was blessed to get exposed to other styles of music, which is jazz and, you know, stuff like that.
Now, is that the key for musicians to just jump into all genres and learn that?
I'm not gonna say that's necessarily the key, but
or a key.
Yeah, I would say it is a key. It was a key for me. Like for instance, if I sit down on the drums, I can really show you the bridge of what gospel music was for me and jazz. I'm really nothing but a gospel drummer, which you would feel the groove and the punch. But my ghost notes and inside stuff is taken from a lot of straight ahead jazz drummers, from you know, a Art Blakey to, you know, to a Brian Blade, to a Jeff Tain Watts, to a you know, to a Jimmy Cobb. So that stuff really helped develop my hand. So a lot of times you may hear grooves like, but then you may hear me play that groove, but then there's nuances in between, like, you know, stuff like that. So the in-between ghost note stuff is the influence of straight ahead, but the groove part is essential, which comes from church.
Yeah, but see now, you got to talk to my folk, man. Like we just in the 3rd grade.
Okay, I'll forgive you 3rd grade.
Yeah, cause check it out. When I was trying to learn how to play bass, and I would talk to guys, they was like, man, you know what you was just saying, and I'm still like, yeah, I'm shaking my head like yeah, but I don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
So kind of like man, it's got to be now. God gave you the gift, right? But it's what made you just go get it though. A lot of people don't know how to just go get it.
Got you. Well, this is the thing. When I was living here, I was always hungry. And you know what? I have to send shout outs to, you know, I'm here at home in St. Louis. I'm at my family's church. We hanging out, kicking it.
Oh, yeah.
With Jross right here. But I'll say this. You know, there are guys that I grew up listening to. Jeremy Haynes, Rod Woody. Those guys were here in town, which was amazing drummers that played here in church. And then later on, I have a friend of mine named Chris Collier that introduced me to jazz music. Which was the Yellow Jackets. Mm-hmm. And then I met an amazing trumpet player here in St. Louis that took me to my first jazz club named Danny Campbell. So they really turned me on to the music of straight ahead, which is, you know, then none of my other partners is Cedric Mitchell, who was my roommate throughout college. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to really break it down basically, the church gave me the groove and the hitting, they gave me the touch, the flavor, but straight ahead music really taught me about dynamics and textures. Everything doesn't have to always be aggressive. So like if you would see the way I may play, I hear music as far as colors, which is textures, dynamics. Everything don't have to be do shoot, but it can be the same. It can have the same aggression at boom. you know, when you start listening to guys like Steve Gadd and stuff like that, then that's what really started opening me up into the drummer that I am today. So to break it down, not to be technical, the main thing is that when you start checking out other stuff outside of your parameters, it's going to open you up because you're going to start understanding how other people hear music. You know, it still has a groove, it still has a pocket flavor, it still has that. And then to answer your question about knowing how to go get it, this is the thing. To go back to that question, basically, when you look at when I was going to see Rob, Jeremy Haynes, I mean, I was going to see these guys play at musicals, I was going to see these guys play at churches, you know, that was me. The Winans came in town, Commission came in town. I was just talking about this to somebody. I was like 9 years old, I was that kid in the suit. I don't know how it happened, but I would get backstage sitting in the dressing room, or I would be sitting on the side of the stage looking at Michael Williams. He's like my biggest influence, Michael Williams from Commission. You know, Dana Davis. You know, I would go to these concerts, and at 9 years old, hey, I was doing what Jross is doing now. You see Jross, he'd meet guys, he'd connect with them, but that was a drive that was instilled. You know, my family is like that. So that was a drive that I had living here, because being here at home, a lot of times you can get relaxed. And, you know, you can get laid back, because St. Louis is a great place. But at the same time, when it's time for you to, you know, you gotta have drive to make it happen. Nobody else is going to make it happen. God gives us the tools, but at the same time, He puts the drive in us for us to move forward. And it's the same thing with the jazz music. They had jazz it was called Hotel Majestic at the time. There was a guy I have to send a shout out to named Richard Henderson. I called him the jazz guru. He has, when you come to St. Louis, connect with him. He has nothing but jazz records for days. His whole house. And I ended up meeting him at a jam session through Danny Campbell, taking me to my first jazz spot. And he's been like a mentor, the father of the music to me for years. So it's like, when I met him, I would go over to his house, be listening to music till 2 or 3 in the morning. He would hand me CDs of Miles Davis, to Jimmy Cobb, to Art Blakey. I would sit over Richard Henderson's house till 2, 3 in the morning, watching videos, you know, I mean, that's what me and Cedric, there's another drummer, Mark Collenberg, Keon Hurl, Kim Thompson. We're all fruit of Richard Henderson. We're all fruit of, and it went so as deep as Richard, when guys like Wynton Marsalis would come to town, or Christian McBride, we would be at the bistro. He introduced me to all these people. The late Ray Brown, Greg Hutchison, Mark, Cedric, all of us, we were there, and it shows, and it just paid off. So when we moved to New York, you know, people said, "Oh man, I remember you from St. Louis. I remember you." So that's man, we were really hungry.